last hoax failed, but now this is the mother of all hoaxes, and if they get away with this, it's the end of America as we know it. We will be Venezuela. Infowars.com. The miraculous properties of turmeric have been admired and worshipped for thousands of years by ancient civilizations. With modern science, we know why turmeric is so popular. Its antioxidant effect, its anti-inflammatory effect, everything it does is simply amazing. And most turmerics out there are simply food products. They're 3 to 5% curcumin, but we have Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula with a 95% curcuminoid level. And we have other organic products in there that accelerate it and bring it to the cells of the body. It's been sold out for months. It's back in stock in SpikeNet. Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula at InfoWarsStore.com is 50% off in free shipping and triple pay trade points at InfoWarsStore.com. It's Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula. If you haven't tried it, learn why it's got thousands of 5-star reviews at InfoWarsStore.com, and you can't lose. It funds the InfoWar.
See that, guys?
Now it's easier than ever to have Band.video on your iPhone. Simply go to Band.video with your Safari browser. Then you click the share button at the bottom of the screen. When the menu comes up, you simply click Add to Home Screen. It will then ask you to name the app. I suggest Band.video. You will now have Band.video app on your home screen, despite the fact that Tim Cook tried to stop it. The globalists think you're lazy, but by taking a little bit of action, you can override them, have the app, and then tell others about it so they can get the app. So it's up to you whether you want to defy big tech and click the share buttons below on your email, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, however you want. Be sure and share Band.video.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
I was thinking maybe a Che Guevara-esque
Che Guevara, maybe just have a skull wearing the shake hat and say communism kills, or what's the idea?
Well, I was thinking maybe having a picture of your ugly mug up there with a bullhorn, maybe something out of Endgame.
I hear you, brother. What do you think about this election next step for Trump?
I think he needs to defeat the corporate media. No, I don't know.
I'll say this. Let me ask each caller this. Where is Trump? I mean, he's given two little speeches, one election night, the next day in the early morning on November 4th. And then he gave one little thing about the poll. I mean, where the hell is the president?
All I can think is he's got to have some kind of a plan, and that's all the faith we all need to have. I don't really know.
Oh, I know he's got a plan. I mean, he's kicking out all the globalists finally and taking action and challenging election fraud. But man, that's why Ida Raiklin's so important as a constitutional lawyer. He's looked at the law and getting the legislatures involved now and getting us mobilized, those legislatures to step in and demand real investigations. They have the power, not the county clerks, not even the bureaucrats. He's got to the legislatures.
I agree. I think that we all just have to have faith and continue to mobilize the way that you're doing and keep up the good work. I'll listen to you every day.
I'm trying, brother. Thank you, Ryan. Let's go ahead and talk to Kevin in New York. Kevin, you're on the air. Well,
How are you?
good, brother.
God bless you. Listen, I just want to get, it's not a deep dive analysis. I was in New York City the day of the announcement of Joe Biden's fraud, and my son and I were driving around where Trump had, kind of looking for Donald Trump people to kind of like protest. And we went in front of Trump Tower, and you couldn't even get near it. It was like a block, and then we got surrounded by lunatics with Joe Biden's signs. And the funny thing is, none of them had real Joe Biden's signs. They're on cardboard boxes, drawn on there, but then we turned the corner and they started Trump House, and they literally, I'm talking about like 14-year-old girls got out of their car, started banging on our car, yelling at us, blasting the F Trump song. And, if it's going in that direction, God knows where it's going to go once they flip it.
Well, that's why the governor of Florida has prepared basically troops and everything else to shoot looters. I agree with you, sir. It's totally insane. We appreciate your courage being out there on the street. They surrounded all the different Trump towers in Chicago, in D.C., New York, was ready to burn them down. And it's all young, dumb trendies who just literally believe that China comes and the new world order and Joe Biden cares about them. It's so pathetic. I appreciate your call, Kevin. All right, we're moving quick here. Let's go ahead and take another call. Let's talk to Randy in Oklahoma. Randy, you're on here.
Alex,
Yes, sir.
we're getting ready to launch you into the swamp, brother. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can, man. Sure can hear you. Yep. I hear every caller. You guys going? I hear you.
All right. Listen, one thing real quick for newer listeners. As a veteran listener for 10 years, I'm also a Marine Corps vet. I've been tuning in and doing everything I can to take advantage of these products that are actually some of the best quality that's out there. And the symbiotic relationship, I hope people that are listening recognize or realize that the way we get this information going and circulating is because they stay healthy and they get the product, they share the information with people. And the operation is...
Absolutely, sir. I mean, we're dipping tungsten on air, but it's such a historic time. We appreciate your support. We love you, Randy, and I really appreciate you. What is your view on the vote count, Trump election, and what's unfolding?
Yeah, the way you take it out, I think that I'd like to see Trump out there until they can actually launch. I think it's like a 10-day window where they can take certain legal action, but it'd be powerful for Trump to throw the cards down the table, and just like it's been said with Black and others, that we got to lay out the base for the fraud, the virus, the Wuhan lab, the way it's set up. Just put it out there for the public and let the media deal with it. I think Rhodes was on yesterday talking about that. Hey, and the worst case, let's say it goes to the House if they can't resolve it in the court. It goes to the House. If you look at Article 12 of the Constitution, it says that the House will be the one that votes, and each delegation, each state delegation is one vote. So you look at how many states have a Republican majority.
Absolutely. Trump wins by that scenario. That's why the Democrats are so scared. You're absolutely right. Even the 20th Amendment scenario defeats him. so much for the call. God bless you, Randy. This is a huge time to be alive. Trump just keeps fighting, he's going to win. But the media is going to say he's illegitimate and try to trigger a race war. That's their next plan. They now admit it. We are inside the war zone. The dogs of war have been released. Scott, in South Carolina, I agree with your statement. Trump's going hard on New World Order, finally.
Yes, sir, Alex. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you, brother.
I think Trump should just fire all missiles. Now is the time. We have this massive caravan. I mean, I've been listening to you for about 9 years. I'm 26. And we've always talked, we've had callers call in, talk about, we need a march on the White House. Well, now is the time. All Trump needed was to see us, American patriots, standing up for him to act. And we're standing up and he's acting. So I think this caravan that's happening right now, this is a major stepping stone in this great giant puzzle in order to defeat this New World Order. Is for people to stand up. And I feel like you should be on broadcast television all day long. Like how come there aren't more patriots just on regular TV? Because
That's because Trump and others allowed the total cutoff of society. They still thought we were in America. They don't control it. That's okay. That's yesterday's war. We move forward now. The enemy's out in the open. You're absolutely right, Scott. Trump is going hard on the New World Order. It's a beautiful time to be alive.
Yeah, I think he's in the basement. I think he's wargaming right now, especially with this caravan and Bowser and DC and all this. I think he really is wargaming.
Well, it's critical for everybody to join the caravan tonight in Atlanta, Georgia. It's critical for folks to be Saturday in D.C. I'm going to be there. We'll be right back. Talk about tomorrow's news today. This is all very transparent. You wargame it out. 6 months ago, InfoWars predicted that mail-in ballots would be used to steal the election from Trump. They would simply pause the voting at night and then have an unlimited number that they had reserved to bring forward in battleground states to secure the victory. And now that happened. Now, what else did I predict a few months ago and again, last week and again, last night, all on record? That when Joe Biden was president-elect via fraud, Trump would challenge him. But Biden's next move would be to form his own COVID task force, say that Trump is inept and has killed 267,000 Americans, accuse it true, and demand Trump's removal via the 25th Amendment. If he doesn't let Joe Biden's new COVID task force give all the new orders, they'll tell Trump that if he backs down and follows their orders, steps down, they won't blame him for COVID. But if he doesn't, they're going to blame him for COVID. But then if he does do what they say, they will do him anyways. Plus, this is meant for martial law to destroy the economy. I warned you all. And all on record, Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Stanford, they were all hired a year ago, and then again 6 months ago, to wargame how to get the public to stay locked down during a pandemic, and how to get the public to take inoculations. And they talk about calling people heroes that do it. They talk about shaming those that don't. This has all been psychologically tested. It's all been psychologically prepared. And once they get you locked down for 15 days, you notice now they say it's permanent. That's how it works. Oh, just put these handcuffs on, the serial killer says the woman in the parking lot, everything will be all right. No. Now, we've already put the handcuffs on, and we're in the serial killer's van. He's taking us to his shack in the woods to slowly torture us to death. That's the allegory. We got to bust out of this thing now. We got to stay down now. We got to make a run for it now when we still can. Once he gets us in that basement, it's going to get a lot worse, folks. So stop submitting. DNA Force Plus, if you did one thing for your immune system, you would get all the essential things. That's the Clean 99 X2 or X3. That's the BioTrish Selenium. That is the vitamin D3. That is the C. That is the same. There's 13 vitamins and minerals that are essential. And studies show you really the other ones too. But DNA Force goes beyond that. It helps get all that in the cells and out the cells with PQQ and CoQ10, the highest quality sources, with other ingredients that clean out the cells, that unclog them so all that stuff can get in. Viruses don't get in. The good stuff gets in because the ions, much like it says, if you have all the proper things, they can't replicate like they could. But I do this because it's essential, like oxygen, like water. DNA Force sold out for months, 50% off out of the gates. Triple pay 3 points, free shipping. InfoWarsStore.com. DNA Force, the license special. That's going to have to end in a week. We had a limited supply. It was very hard to get the PQQ this time. A lot of our stuff isn't getting anymore. A lot of our products because the supply chain's broken down. That's part of the Global plan. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Look, we all know that CNN is the epitome of fake news. There's that been certified by any of the 50 states. And counting is still going on. What is 7 other states? And Trump is gaining ground in all but one of them. And then there's also going to be recounts, audits, and all the spot checks have already shown massive fraud. But in comes the ace card, the ace of spades. Big tech censorship is blocking not just the president, not just members of Congress, but tens of millions of Americans from even sharing local news stations confirming the fraud. This is a foreign-backed multinational takeover of the United States. Trump is battling a Chinese new world order system. We have monkey being locked down forever in economic war and bring us to our knees.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
supplements I couldn't be operating.
Yeah. I had a question for
maybe don't fully understand how important this is. I mean, you mentioned before this is about good versus evil. I believe this transcends politics.
There's not been something, this is bigger than World War II for the whole shape of the world.
Exactly.
I mean, the globalists say they're shutting us down forever. They're going to make us poor and make us capitulate to their communist, socialist, pedophile agenda. Literally, they can turn our kids over to the sexual
There is
brainwashing.
going to be no future, period, mother. Do you get it? You're living in a dystopian reality, and the fact that you don't care is proof that you're a reptile. It's proof positive.
And I remember hearing the tape of that. It's
Your
so creepy.
children's
These
children
are
are going to
pedophiles.
die.
And that's their goal, is getting the children's energy. They're vampires. Those of us that are pedophiles don't get it. We're like, what the hell? These are psychic vampires, period.
You're actually going to make it harder.
Yes, exactly. So, no, that's fine. So, I guess I just wanted to look a little bit more on that. Instead of just the political angle, I guess I was curious to get your thoughts, for people to get your thoughts more on like the metaphysical angle. So, spiritually, dimensionally, what are the ramifications of either side winning, so people can really understand what this is about?
We just have to expose how cold-blooded it is. Now they're creating a dystopia, so we accept global extermination. Hitler was a beta test. This is the real move. Alicia, why do you think the president's been gone? I mean, I really don't like it. Trump's in hiding. What the hell's going on? That's the real wild card here. Why is Trump missing?
I mean, I like to think that he's focused on his legal battles. He's trying to stay calm. I mean, you've mentioned how stressed you are, and a lot of people are stressed. I'm sure that he's stressed too.
I agree. This is an information war. He needs to be resolute desk, laying out the election fraud that's pouring out.
Yeah,
Not
sure.
Twittering where they block his tweets. They cannot stop him in the Oval Office. He must be presidential. He must take on Biden and say he's not president-elect. He is a fraud.
Yeah, well, it's hard to know what's going on behind the scenes. I guess that's why it's great that you have your caravan going. I mean, if we can't see him, at least people can see the support, the support behind him. It seems like he's working on it, hopefully, at least, I guess. I mean, CNN, changing their map, I mean, that is huge. I mean, I'm in Massachusetts. All my friends are very liberal. I feel like I can't necessarily talk about my viewpoint on this, so I'm hoping that some of them see that. I mean, interestingly enough, I didn't even really come into this again from a political standpoint. I really came into this more from the spiritual end, because I recognize what this particular race meant, so because of that, I've tried to become a lot more involved.
Sure, absolutely. CNN has thrown out a whole bunch of maps. I saw that earlier. It was like, is that an official map? They're like, yeah, they went and checked it. They've gotten hundreds of maps. It's all just to confuse everybody. But he did just win Alaska. He did just win North Carolina. That changed the map. So it's all in flux right now. They're not God. Newsweek said Hillary's the president. It's not true. So God bless you. I appreciate the call. Okay, let's go ahead and take another call here. Let's go ahead and talk to Joe in Pennsylvania. Joe, go ahead.
What's going on, Alex? How are you?
Man, people always ask how it's going on. I'm over here in Austin, Texas, talking to you, Joe. Man, we're living in crazy times, brother.
Absolutely, sir. So yeah, I wanted to touch on the Dominion software voting systems. I actually downloaded their 181-page PDF, and I spent some time combing through it last night and today. Basically just trying to dig up everything that I can to understand how the software itself works. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that we all know that 60% majority shareholder is actually Dianne Feinstein's husband, and they had a huge financial backing from the Clinton Foundation, which even though this wouldn't be enough to incriminate and validate fraud, it's most certainly a clear conflict of interest.
Oh, everywhere it's flipping against Trump, never against Biden. That's why all these local races of Republicans are winning now that we're losing as they go and check, and the county clerks get scared and flip back so they can go to jail. Don't hang up, Joe. Since you mentioned it, here's Rudolph Giuliani on with Steve Bannon in the War Room talking just about what you just mentioned.
And that's a combination. Our next guest is going to be Dave Coleman from, I think, the Great Lakes. He's one of these public interest research institutions. This lawsuit is a combination of what Thor was working on in Coleman. Is that correct in Michigan?
Correct, and they both have superior information. Thor has some part of it with the government insiders who basically are turning what's called state's evidence. They are Democrats who are testifying against the Democratic ethic because they were so disgusting. That's basically Thor's people. Coleman has the community people, and he's got the Dominion people. And they were the ones who were the actual, not the poll watchers, the observers, who were excluded and who were lied to,
Holy shit.
but two of whom stayed behind after all the Republicans left out. And they're the ones who got the evidence on the 100,000 votes they were getting. And they have some photographs also. Put those two together, and you've got some very, very powerful evidence in that room at the Cobb Center, I think it was a complete, let's make up the votes room. How much do we have to make up, and let's get there?
Absolutely. The Democrats want to burn down America. They say they're going to cheat. They've been caught. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, so kind of following up on Rudy, I think I have a pretty good understanding now of how they actually got those vote totals at the wee hours of the morning after they shut down the polling locations in the first place. Now, it all happened within a couple of hours, and it swung by a couple 100,000 to vote, which would be pretty close to impossible for people to just handwrite ballots. But with the Dominion software voting system, you have a master computer where you can upload any algorithm that would be approved by their software, and it will automatically...
And by the way, all across the battleground states, they did a patch the day before. And then Republicans didn't show up and certify it or even check it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I remember specifically in Philadelphia, I'm pretty close to Philadelphia. The Hill had posted an article, Politico, a lot of people did.
Joe, don't hang up. You're a great caller. I'm going to come back to you and all these other callers. Hour number 3 straight ahead. Steve Machini is joining us as well with big news. He predicted all these big firings as Trump takes the deep state to the woodshed. We'll be back.
Alex Jones here with an important message to all of our listeners and viewers. I want to thank you for your support over the years. I want to thank you for having skin in the game, and no one has had more skin in the game than our president. And he needs our prayers. He needs our support. He is the president. Secretary of State Pompeo understands. That's why he said yesterday there will be a smooth transition from this Trump administration into the next Trump administration, because in all the major states where they're still counting, they are gaining ground. That is President Trump, Republican Party, the American people, the populace, the patriots, the enemy, the Democrats, backed by the Chi-Coms, backed by the European Union, backed by Hollywood, backed by the left, the blue cities, they are in a rage trying to gaslight us, keep calling Biden president-elect. He's not. The president has to concede, and or all of the states have to certify the votes. That's happened yet. And then you have to have the electors seek who is going to be the president. And this may be a dispute that goes back to the states. That's why it's in the Constitution. The Constitution's kicking in. Warning, warning, warning. There is not long to stop the complete martial law takeover. The giant third world collapse, and a new world war that's going to be triggered by the new COVID lockdown announced by globalist systems in Europe, in Asia, and now in the United States. Joe Biden is set to announce today that he has a new COVID task force that is calling for a national mask mandate to prove your servitude, contact tracing, forced inoculations coming, but most importantly, a new lockdown. That way he can say that Trump is to blame for COVID and claim that only a new lockdown will stop COVID. Then, of course, when that new lockdown doesn't work, those of us that didn't submit to the lockdown are going to be blamed for it, and that's when all the mass arrests start sometime toward the end of next year. This is a permanent martial law plan. Trump must repudiate it, expose Fauci and Gates,